Willow Nurseries again. We're in one of our rose houses today. Talk a little bit about some of the degree days. We're at 189 degree days. At 190 degree days, Japanese crabapple starts the first bloom, and at 191, redbud starts blooming. So those are some good indicators right now. We also have some pests that are pretty important right now that we've got to be watching for that are regulated. So spongy moth, formerly known as gypsy moth, is 191. The eggs start to hatch, so be watching for that. There's 5 instars that come through on that, and we want to treat on these early instars. So that will be coming up, the treatment for that. At 200, spotted lanternfly is a new one on the scene. Egg hatch starts, and it's perceived that the first emergence of the nymphs. So you'll be wanting to look at that. Tree of Heaven is one of the preferred host plants, but it feeds on many different plants. So you'll be wanting to watch that. Also, viburnum leaf beetle, another one that's pretty important out there regulatory wise, is at 210. And then we also have birch leaf miner at 215, which is one you want to get early so that you don't have damage later on. So you want to get those sprays on now if you haven't already. The other thing why I came to the Rose House today is talk about some of the weather conditions we're having. Last week we were in the 80s, low 80s, upper 70s in full sun, and things were growing great, and it was so hot and we were trying to keep everything watered. This week we've got down into the mid 30s for lows at night. It's overcast. It's kind of seasonably cool, I guess. So we have some things we need to talk about with that. One being, in roses, something that's susceptible, they have 2 diseases that they can get. One is downy mildew, and the other is powdery mildew. So this time of year in the houses where we have high humidity, we still have the plastic on them, we're really scouting for downy mildew. And downy is important because it doesn't present itself quite the same way as what powdery mildew. Powdery mildew, you'll see a white on the surface, it looks dusty. Generally you see that later in the year. Right now, downy is really the focus, and that on roses will present itself as the vein tends to have a red color to it on the vein, midrib of the leaf. And if you look on the bottom side, you'll see some spores. So it's real important to be watching for that. We do have these on a weekly fungicide program. Even with that, with the higher humidity and this kind of weather, we can have more incidents of it. So we are regularly watching for that. The other part that's important with this kind of weather is to talk about how to protect plants that you get. And so we're doing a lot of covering. Believe it or not, over the weekend, we covered well over 100 houses. We pulled the plastic back over to protect them because of the stage and what the plants are in. So you can see as the roses, these are pushed out and forced a little bit. Now this isn't something that you could just leave outside. These would have to go inside a house where they're heated, at least getting into the mid 30s, if not 40 degrees. In some cases, maybe a warehouse or an inside building for a couple days. Some other plants, if they're kind of coming out seasonably, we pull plastic over the top, and if you could put some kind of structure to do a double layer of plastic would help you. Some of the other things that are good techniques is to try to bundle the stuff together or shrink wrap it on a rack, and keep it together as much as possible. That helps protect it. You can do some icing. That's a technique that works for a few degrees, but you have to be careful about what you're doing. So thanks for watching again, and we'll keep going with videos each week. They're kind of timely to things that could be helpful.